If you're a healer, a coach, or an entrepreneur, and you're running on empty, you may be doubting yourself, or you may be feeling spiritually disconnected, or even wondering if your body is about to give out on you. Stay with me because this video is specifically for you. My name's Varney. I've been in business for over 30 years. I've worked with thousands of clients, from celebrities, gentry, to people in the most profound pain you can imagine. I've had 3 burnouts myself, a 10-year relationship end. I came from children's homes. I married at 17. I was looking for security. I became Scottish Designer of the Year, and then within months I went bankrupt. I didn't tell a single soul because I was so afraid of being judged. I rebuilt completely, and then I lost 10,000 organic followers overnight during a product launch due to a hack. But I just kept going anyway. I've been trapped on snow-capped mountains at 13,000 feet at a Buddhist monastery in Nepal. And it made the newspapers front page. Not only that, but I was on TV as film crews were running after my sons trying to get a story. I've walked sacred lands, been in many temples on every continent, and I have had hundreds of feathers appear in places I'd just been in ways that defied any logical explanation, even to me, every single time. And I tell you this not to impress you, but to show you that everything I'm about to share came from living it, not just reading about it online. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what hologram healing is and why the healing world has been fundamentally misunderstanding it. I'm going to walk you through 4 specific energy distortions that are showing up in your life and your practice right now, whether you can see that or not. And I want to say this clearly. This is not woo. This is not new age fluff. Just because something is invisible doesn't mean it isn't real. And once you can see how this works, you cannot unsee it. So let's think about you're maybe feeling scattered. You really can't finish anything. You're always rewriting your to-do list, but never actually doing it. Or you've got that imposter syndrome. Who am I to be doing this work? When you're being called forward maybe to do something a wee bit out your comfort zone, that imposter syndrome comes in and stops you from doing it. Or you're planning forever, you're never launching, you've got that analysis paralysis, that's the prison of that one. Or you're terrified of showing up publicly. That was a big one I had. Social media, speaking, being seen. This is all in the psychological. You know, this is what I call the psychological hologram. Now, what people think the hologram healing is, it's just a buzzword. It's just that quantum buzzword that everybody puts around. Sounds impressive, but it doesn't mean anything. It's all that new age woo kind of stuff. Think positive and manifest your dream life. Or it's something you just can't measure, you can't see, so you can't trust it. I want to tell you a wee story. It's actually quite a big story, but I'm going to keep it wee and condensed because it was over a good number of years. I received hundreds of feathers physically appearing in places I'd just been standing or looked at. I'd put my laptop down, 5 minutes later, go back. Nobody was around me, by the way. Nobody was in the house, just me. Open the laptop up, there'd be a feather. I'd go into my phone. Literally seconds later, I'd open my phone up again, there'd be a feather. Into my pillow, you know, there'd be feathers. And I'm talking huge, not just pillow feathers, silly pillow feathers. I'm talking huge feathers. This happened continuously. I've got bags at home. There's hundreds and hundreds of these feathers that were irrational. They had defied logic. I've even fell asleep and had these feathers placed in my hand just as I was falling asleep. I tell you, that one woke me up. Or about the one where on my walk, I used to go walking every day, Maspiden, a beautiful walk, waterfalls, mountains, and what have you. And I seen this huge heron feather. And I thought, what a beautiful feather. I stuck it in the ground, didn't tell a soul. just to myself, playing about, stuck in the ground and said, that'd be a gift. Somebody will think that's a gift for them. Forgot all about it. Next morning, I wakes up, the identical feather was under my pillow. And we're talking a feather this size, it was huge. Nobody knew. I had never told a soul. I went back that next day to see if that feather was in the ground, and it was. And I put the two of them together, and they were identical. This is what I mean by it defies logic. Yeah. Just because you can't explain something, it doesn't mean it isn't happening. The invisible has rules, it has structure, and it really does respond. So think about this. You're not just a body, you're a multi layered, energetic being operated across 4 bodies simultaneously. Now, in those bodies, there's distortions. It shows how it shows up is exact symptoms that you're experiencing. 30 years I've been in business, working with people, thousands of people, starting from the bridal industry, teaching, all these things. So I read energy at high stakes from emotional environments. It became a training ground for this entire modality when I think about it. Even though I've been trained in this technique from real Rinpoche shamans and so many other people from Peru, Native Americans, and Nepal, I'm really, my business actually was my training ground. When I was a bridal designer and I was designing for celebrities and gentry, brides in the most emotionally intense moments of their lives, the tantrums, the tears, the bridezillas, the mumzillas, those controlling sometimes mothers, the anxious brides. You weren't just making dresses, you were reading energy, you were shifting rooms, holding space. I mapped patterns and I saw distortions that were repeated across thousands of people. And that's how the hologram healing was born. Not in a classroom, it was born from me being in my business, working with people. And my spiritual authority is lived. I didn't just learn it from a book or from an online course. I went to a Buddhist monastery where I was trapped 13,000 feet up, learning about the effects of meditation on children's behaviors. This was part of my thesis at my master's in psychology. It made the newspapers, not because of that, but because I was trapped in a mountain. Thousands of people died. And there was a camera running around with my sons trying to get a story. I was coming out that temple as the earth shook. And we actually thought, shit, what have we just been meditating on here? What have we done? It was mental. This is what it means when you're spiritually tested for real. It's not in a workshop. It's not in a retreat. It's in the actual wilderness. It's not about certifications alone. It's from walking a path in conditions that most people never encounter. So think about this. You're waking up exhausted before the day even begins. You're even absorbing clients' energies, their pain, and you're carrying it home. You can't switch it off. You can't say no because you're always available. You're always giving. You're always last on the list. I know this used to be me, yeah? Or you have those emotional swings that just make consistent quality work feel impossible. You're just in that victim loop. Does this sound familiar to you? Or there could be from the spiritual, you're going through the emotions, the passion that started all this, it's gone quiet. So there's a loneliness comes in because no one understands you and no one understands the path that you're on. Or you're constantly checking what other people are doing in your field. You know, you're inspired one minute and you're inadequate the next. How can I not be where they are? And you're questioning everything. Am I even on the right track anymore? Yeah. There's things going on in your spiritual hologram. Yeah. Your spiritual body. Now, when there's physical pain, and you really should listen to this, what we've learned is we go to the hospital. And by the way, if you've got a broken leg or what have you, get to the hospital. But if there's a chronic fatigue, you need those multiple coffees just to function, then that crack, or you're cancelling sessions because the body, it just simply won't cooperate, or those headaches, that recurrent illness, that constant on edge feeling, or you're pouring everything into healing others while you, your own body is just sending distress signals and you're ignoring it. You're ignoring it. This might sound familiar to you because I've lived every single one of these. I really have. And I've seen people that live these as well. But I'm going to give you a map that most people never receive. Once you have it, you'll see it everywhere. Yeah. So let's start with the psychological hologram. So what is it? It's a mental energy. Just think of around the head. It's a mental energy. It's your thoughts, your patterns, those beliefs, that self-identity, that inner narrative that you keep saying to yourself. So when there's distortion there, it's imposter syndrome. It's that overthinking, that paralysis, the fear of being seen, of being visible. And how does it show up? If you're rewriting your to-do list, or you're never launching, or you're staying safe to stay small, there's something going on in your psychological hologram. So I had a client who was corporate professional, very high up in our field, got a very logical background, was a bit afraid of the spiritual world. She knew there was something there, but there was a bit of fear that people won't take her seriously. So she kept planning. She was never publishing. Now, this wasn't laziness. This was a psychological hologram distortion at its best. Yeah. Now, where you take the energy from that psychological distortion, what actually happens is there's a mental clarity, there's a lightness, there's a confidence, there's ability to act, take action on the vision without self-sabotage. So you can move forward. Now, what about if the emotional hologram, there's something going on in the emotional energy body? And the emotional hologram is all about the feelings, your energetic boundaries, those relational patterns that you've got going on. Now, when there's a distortion in that emotional body, usually you're people pleasing, you're burning out, or you're burnt out, you're absorbing other people's energy, and there's an emotional depletion, there's a real tiredness, and you just don't know where it's coming from. Now, if you're drained after every session, you can't say no, or you're just serving from that empty cup. This is how there's a distortion shows up within the energy field. Yeah. Now I'm going to tell you my own story. 3 burnouts. I didn't even tell people I had burnouts. I really had severe anxiety going on within my physical body, emotional body. It was intense. And really, it came to the point of, it was so bad, that fear of judgment, that emotion for me to show that vulnerability. I went through bankruptcy. I didn't even tell my best friends. That's a classic distortion in the emotional energy field. Yeah, it's a classic distortion. I wish I knew now what I knew then, because when you get those energetic boundaries, that emotional resilience, you're serving from fullness, not depletion. And by God, I certainly don't give a shit about that judgment now of if I did go bankrupt and all the rest of it. Touch wood, that's not going to happen. But I wouldn't feel that judgment. I would just laugh about it now, which is bizarre because I've done the work. Or what about if you've got the spiritual hologram? And a lot of people think, I'm unsure if I believe in spiritual. This isn't religion. This is a spiritual source energy. This is about your soul mission, your divine connection, your purpose, your alignment. And now, if you feel disconnected, There's a stagnation. You're going through the motions, but there's just an isolation. You just feel really isolated. There's a distortion going on in your spiritual hologram body. Yeah. And if you're checking what everyone else is doing, or you're feeling uninspired, or you're wondering, is this still right? Am I doing it right? Am I connecting? Where's my spirit team went? They've left the building, blah, blah, blah. Now, I actually won Scottish Design of the Year within months. Bankruptcy. Didn't tell us all. And I rebuilt as a single parent, 26 years, that I rebuilt another business. The spiritual awakening, it didn't make life easier. If anything, if I'm being honest, it made it harder, because there was a distortion inside my spiritual hologram about not believing, about being judged, about, oh, can I connect? What will people think? Yeah. Where's my mission? However, when I reignited that passion, that clarity, that soul mission, and trust me, I'm on my soul mission now, like you've no idea, or you're feeling on purpose again, deeply, you feel it. It's not intellectual, you really feel it. That's what it feels like when you heal that spiritual hologram. It really is, yeah? Now, the physical hologram, think about your vitality, your body signals, your physical self-care, your longevity. Now, if you've got chronic fatigue, you have recurring illnesses, you have energy crashes, you have inconsistency, the pains keep coming in and out like that. And you've been to the doctors, and the doctor can't tell, they can't tell you why you're getting those pains. And sometimes you have this coffee dependency, or you're cancelling sessions because your body's screaming what your mind is ignoring. There's something going on in your physical hologram that's trying to get you to listen, to do something. There's something that you're not listening to. Yeah. Now, I'll give you an instance myself. I was just launching the Oracle code, and I lost 10,000 followers, gone like that, just as I launched. It was Facebook hackers took it all away. Now, the physical toll was I continued anyway. My body came from not hustle. I got collaborations. It came from not refusing to collapse. You know, is the physical hologram isn't just about eating well and sleeping. It's about whether your body trusts you to take care of it while you do this work. And that trust is built, or broken even, over time, you know? Now, if you've got a sustained energy, a whole body wellness, and a body that works with your mission instead of against it, that's when you've got that healing within that hologram, that physical hologram. There's so many other things, facets that go with it. But these are 4 separate problems, and there are we all have one connected system. A distortion in one body ripples sometimes through all 4s. And when you know how to read and shift these, everything changes. That is hologram healing. And on the other side, I wake up, I'm clear, I'm energized, I'm on purpose. I'm not trained before the day starts. Yeah. When I'm working with clients, it really fills me up. I love it, absolutely love it. Because working from alignment, it doesn't give you depletion, you know? Or a business that reflects your actual soul mission. It's not coming from survival mode dressed up as a strategy. It actually is a mission, and it gives you so much energy. It gives you that confidence to show up publicly, share your gifts, lead without internal wars. And what actually happens is that when you're in that flow, synchronicities start to happen. People come into your world. They're just flowing. Like today, for instance, someone I met 7 years ago at a hypnotherapy convention, many years ago. reached out to me today, wants to do a collaboration. Now, another way, I'd walked home a couple of nights ago and says, I'd really like to work with a coach, someone who gets it, someone who knows what I'm talking about. I don't want to pay. I just want to see if I'm on the right track because I'm testing these manifestation things. Next day, manifestation, one-on-one, learn. Now, it's not about all that. It's about being in that flow when those holograms are balanced. Your body supports the work because you finally learn to support you. Yeah. Now I'm a digital nomad. I've traveled to God knows how many countries. I do Bali, 5-star retreats, invite only, filled up like that. I do maybe 5-hour work days now. I used to be a major workaholic, And I'm talking, I'd be there from 5 a.m. in the morning till 11 p.m. at night with very little sleep and lots of responsibility. Now this is a constant for me. Not now. 5 hours max, laptop shop. Yeah. Feathers still arrive. The result is in the proof. It really is. So, if you want to know more about hologram healing or soul grid healing coaching that we do free over in our school community, there's a link down below. And I'd love it if you come over and join us.